What's up, everybody? This is Dominic DeAngelo of WrestleZone.com. Today's date is December 8th, 2021, and I'm here to do the MLW Fusion Fight Report. Now, I did happen to miss it last week. I kind of got a little bit under the weather and just did not have the time, but I'm happy to merge the two shows together, and talk about some big takeaways from it. Obviously, we got to talk about the Opera Cup and its finals, which happened to have TJP versus Davey Richards in the finals. Very well done from a match overall. These guys know each other so well, and the build to it throughout the episode was very, very good. They had little video packages that showcased each men's journey to the cup. And then right at the main event, right before the main event, each guy had a little video like expressing why they won the Opera Cup, their intentions, what their plans were, all that kind of thing. It was really, really well done. If you have not seen that episode, please definitely check it out because it's very, very good. And you got a lot to take away from that match in itself. It's the Fusion Fight Report. So I will tell you who wins. It was Davey Richards, and very awesome heartfelt promo at the end that he gave. Cesar Duran came out and presented him the trophy, and then he had time at the end of the show, which is really neat to see because obviously you're going to win a championship of some sort or anything like that. Like you win a Super Bowl, you win the Lombardi Trophy, you win, the NBA Finals. It's about damn time. Anything like that, you will be talking afterwards. And the champion did talk about it and talked about what it meant for him. And like he said to the Philadelphia crowd, he's like, I was supposed to dedicate this to somebody, but he's like, I usually go against, if you know me, I'm Davey Richards and I go against the grain. So I want to dedicate to all you fans and everything like that. So very good babyface, heartfelt promo. Davey Richards is awesome. I'm so happy to see him back in wrestling, and it's really, really awesome to see him in Major League Wrestling in particular. And, he's a big advocate for the promotion too. You can tell he's all in, and he's you can tell he's really enjoying himself too. Just overall being back in wrestling, it's awesome to see, and he's doing great work. It's really, really cool to see. And TJP, you got to give credit to him too, man. He can play a heel like no tomorrow, and he does not have any aversions to doing such. It's nice to see. I mean, he is such an athlete, and both him and Davey, they just complemented one another amazingly. You got to see the finish. It's very, very well done. So yeah, go back, check that first episode about the Opera Cup. Also, we have the Boomaye Club joined, Fight Club established, Alex Kane with Mr. Thomas. Really cool. Boomaye is a reference back to Rumble in the Jungle with Muhammad Ali, and how the fans in the crowd were chanting Boomaye, which means pretty much end that person. So it's a really neat name, and Alex Kane has such good promo ability. It's awesome to see him be able to do stuff that he does in the ring, like the suplex assassin stuff. But yeah, he's a personality outside the ring, and obviously with pro wrestling, that's so important, and he's got it, man. So it's going to be neat to see him further cultivate that down the road and see where the Boomaye Club goes. So, but this week of Fusion too, what a big follow up. We had, we had the debut of NZO. We had a tag team title street fight, Philadelphia street fight, to close out the show. And then we opened with a backstage brawl. We had a backstage brawl with our world heavyweight champion, Alex Hammerstone, fighting Matanza, who is also known as Jeff Cobb. But we opened with an unexpected surprise, which was Arez versus Aramis for Cesar Duran's suitcase of cash. And Duran came out and was like, hey, he promoted it. Duran is so good. If you look at like the little things that he does in the ring, and then like he's walking out after presenting the briefcase, and he was walking by Holliday and Dr. Dax, who come out with Arez, and he like gives them a stare. It's just like a little thing that, a lot of people wouldn't think about, but he keeps with it, man. And Duran he's so money for this company. It's so cool. Like it's something that like a lot of fans missed from Lucha Underground. We're getting it right again with Cesar Duran and MLW Azteca, which I have to mention as well. The tapings at Tijuana finished up, and it looks like it's going to be its own standalone series, excuse me, that's going to air. And like I said, those Tijuana shows are super, super unique. They're going to be even more unique with Duran there. But I'm very, very excited to see how these are presented because they do have their own special presentation, special crowd audience. It's so different there. So I'm very much looking forward to see that'll show up on January 6th starting off. So be on the lookout for that. But this match here we're getting a little bit of a preview as we have Ares going up against Aramis. These guys have faced each other twice now in Major League Wrestling. Once in the Fatal 4-Way that had the MLW World Middleweight title at stakes, which Tajiri won, but then they faced each other one-on-one, and Aramis got the better of that the first time. This time, cash was on the line, and Holliday and Dr. Dax were ringside. And they did play a factor. But wow, you want to see some unique stuff? These guys do it. Every time, every match is different. They do some of the same stuff, but there's this overall like style and different set of movesets that they incorporate into it that you haven't seen before. But like, wow, that is pretty effing cool. So you have to go and watch this match. I was so pleasantly surprised by this match, and Dr. Dax and Holliday played a factor in Arez getting the cash. Arez has a very neat finisher, by the way. It's like a heel. He hooks the back leg of Aramis, and then he does like a Michinoku driver. It looks devastating. But both these guys, they can go, and it's fun to watch. The crowd was into it. I was into it. So definitely check that out. There was also an update. Alicia Atout did a rendition of MLW Embedded, and she covered the state of CONTRA. It's basically no more. So what you have is Mads Kruger. The whereabouts of Mads Kruger was seen in South Africa, and fighting. He's fighting, and he swears vengeance against Jacob Fatu after what happened. And then Akira Kwan has renounced the group, and he's, interestingly enough, training in Japan with Tajiri. So think about that. That is pretty awesome. That might set some pretty neat stuff up here laying down the road. That's what's neat about MLW. They plan ahead. They like, there's things ahead of time. You're like, hey, I gotta make note of that. It's gonna happen. Something's gonna go down. And sure enough. And then as far as Fatu, he's AWOL. We haven't seen him since. It's just basically that. So yeah, we gotta wait and see what's the status of one of Major League's top stars. It's gonna be. I'm excited to see where Fatu goes. I'm so pumped. So and what he does here in MLW, because him as a babyface. I mean, my goodness, what are you gonna? I mean, geez, you can't. There's money to be printed there. And finally, Joseph Samael, Alicia Atout notes that he vanished before War Chamber, and that could have been intentional. Now, she does put the blame onto Cesar Duran for his manipulation of his words and kind of sowing the seed of treachery and deceit between CONTRA. So it's pretty neat to see Duran, like this evil guy, clearly evil dude, just making chaos with one of wrestling's most chaotic factions in CONTRA. So it'll be interesting to see what directions all this takes going forward. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. So, but yeah, we also get NZO, the debut, Matt Cross versus NZO, and I loved this match. I loved how it was portrayed, how they portrayed NZO, how they portrayed Matt Cross, and then how they executed the match and told the story. They did not shy away from the polarization of NZO. He came out, he did get like mixed reaction kind of thing, but then once the bell rang, you heard the "How you doing" chants, and crowd was pretty good behind NZO. But Matt Cross, the story that the announcers told on commentary were like, Matt Cross is well trained. He's a a positive, person behind the locker room and environment as a wrestler. He's such a professional and all that stuff. He didn't get the main stage that Enzo has. And they talked about Enzo's like opportunities that he received, and being with Dusty. They even mentioned NXT on the program, and talked about Bachina mentioned his like knowing Enzo and NXT and stuff like that, and how he never had a problem with him, but he knows people that had problems with him. And then they also just talked about like Enzo kind of redirecting course and being more like wrestling oriented and stuff like that. But they also talked about his kind of like his inexperience in the ring too. They basically addressed, and all this really played out into a very, very good match. Matt Cross does a very good job at keeping things moving, but Enzo, like, he's got the presence in the ring too, to like, he had some of the acumen to be able to show, he can kind of go in the ring as well. Like, he looks, from all accounts, like from what I've seen from Enzo in the past, this looks like he's very much improved. And, he delivers some move sets and stuff like that. And I was very impressed by this match. And the finish was super cool and super clever. Well done. Like, so what happens is Enzo tries to get out of the ring. Matt Cross goes on a flurry of offense. He hits, by the way, he hits a crazy pump kick in the middle of the air against Enzo. It's an awesome spot. You got to watch it. And then he also hits a cutter off Enzo and then taunts him and goes to pin him. But then Enzo kicks out. But anyways, so the finish is about to happen. Matt Cross is dragging Enzo back in the ring. And Enzo grabs hold of the apron, the ring apron, the little ring apron, and is pulling the apron into the ring. The ref stops him from doing it. The ref goes to put the ring apron back. Enzo low blows Matt Cross and then hits his, I think it's what's it called? Jeez, I just had it. Dunzo, I think, but it's like eat the feet he hits him with. And he gets a 1, 2, 3 on it. Really good finish. Enzo was bloodied. He got bloodied somehow. I'm not sure how exactly it went down, but it was very good. It was a good visual and everything like that. And Enzo like just played into it, man. And so like Enzo's a heel. Okay. He's a heel. And we get more of that because they tease that Casey Navarro is going to be on commentary coming up here. And as Casey Navarro, we cut to a commercial, and then as Casey Navarro cuts back, we see him walking to the ring, and he like gives Enzo some like demeaning eyes, if you will, because he doesn't like how the actions Enzo took in the ring, and like commentary makes note of that too. So as Casey Navarro's heading towards commentary, out of nowhere comes Enzo again and hits him from behind, throws him into the barricade. Enzo just like stares at him. It's kind of a neat moment. Like, it's like Enzo's like, it's just a unique way to react to things. And I like Enzo. I think he's great. I think he's a really good addition to Major League Wrestling for however long he's staying. And so he takes Casey and he puts him in a razor's edge and he hits him, runs him, charges him into the ring post. And then medical attention is called, and Casey Navarro is attended to. So, and then we get later on that Casey Navarro was rushed to a Philadelphia hospital. So, but yes, a good, very good A+ debut for Enzo, I would say. It was really well done. And they I think they're handling Enzo in the best way possible too. You know what? Like, Enzo, people have this negative stuff they say about him. I like him. And I think there's just so much that he's able to do. I'm excited to hear him on the mic. And I'm excited to see what more they do with him, because there's a lot he can do to embrace that MLW fusion aspect of things. So, yes, I like that a lot. As far as the brawl with Matanza and Alex Hammerstone, that went out throughout the whole episode, and it was a really neat way it finished, because we cut and we see Richard Holliday. He's with Alicia Atout, and he's got a present for Alicia Atout, even though Canadians, according to him, don't celebrate Christmas. With Alicia Atout, was like, what the hell are you talking about? And he's like, but I got a present for you. And I'm thinking he's giving her like AirPods, like customized AirPods. It was so funny. He opens the box and out pulls his fucking dynastic coffee mug. And he's like, and the reaction Alicia Atout gives him very funny. But suddenly in comes Hammerstone and Matanza brawling it out. And Richards like stands back. He's like, "Oh, Alex, what's going on?" Like, hammer. And Hammer grabs hold of the mug and just smashes Matanza with it. And Holliday's beside himself, but it allows Hammerstone to wrap up a steel chain and bludgeon Matanza with it and keep him down. He's out. Matanza's out. And like, Holliday's like, "What the hell, man?" He's like, "This is the holidays." And he's like, "Do you know how much I spent for that mug?" And Hammerstone's like, the visual he gives to is like, "Hey, man, look what I just dealt with." And pretty funny stuff. And like, Alicia comes back and she's like, "You gave me a mug? Like, what the hell are you thinking?" Like that kind of thing. It was a great segment. I chuckled quite a bit when I was watching that. But heck, we get to the street fight. Oh, I forgot to mention this. Myron Reed was with Emilio Sparks. And Emilio Sparks is like, "Hey, he wants to know where his head's at. You know, no longer do you have Injustice. You know, you don't have your middleweight title. Where are you at here? What's your kind of mental game right now?" And Myron Reed makes it clear. He's like, "Hey, man, I'm doing great." He's like, "You're talking to me about this?" He's like, "I'm being nice to you." He's like, "This is it." And he's like talking about hyping himself up and everything. You know, Myron's really good at that too. But all of a sudden, darkness washes over the back of 2300 Arena. And who comes sauntering in but Karlee Perez? And she's got tarot cards with her. She says to Myron that, "Hey, you are going to hit rock bottom, but I will be there when you do to bring you back up." And then she vanishes. So pretty cool stuff. What is going to happen to Myron Reed? What's going on here? Yikes. Wow. So pretty interesting stuff. But yes, so we have a little moment too where Holliday, Dr. Dax, and Ares are counting the cash that they won. And Amelia Sparks asks what she's going to do with that cash. And she's like, "Oh, I'm probably going to buy a new knife," and like just creepy stuff, you know. And then in comes 5150 Conan smoking. And Slice Boogie's in there. Dr. Julius Smoke has the cart with him and for the street fight. And Rivera walks up to Emilio's like, "Hey, we like your shoes, man." He's like, "What size are those?" And Emilio's like 9.5. And Rivera's like, "Yeah, that's my size." He's like, "I think I'm going to take them." And Conan's like, "Hey, let's go win those tag team titles first. Then we'll take the shoes." And he's like, "All right." So, boom, main event time. It is 5150 versus Los Sparks for the tag team titles in a Philadelphia street fight. They did cut a little promo earlier in the evening too, which is really, really good. Very passionate. Like, Rivera is so underrated at promos. He's so good. Like, man, just punches you in the face with what he says. And it's just like, man, that's some good, you know, you're going on the streets, you're going to hear that kind of shit talk in there too. It's good stuff. Anywho, main event between Los Sparks and 5150. They go back and forth. It's just LA Park and El Hijo Park, but brawl starts out. Hockey sticks, rakes. I'm trying to think what else is used. Kendo sticks. All this plunder is used in the fight. And steel chairs, obviously, with Los Sparks. They do that kind of stuff. And it's a brawl, man. It's a brawl. Slice Boogie's really good. I just like Slice Boogie. He did a spot where he leaped over the ropes, like sprungboard, leaped over the ropes, and then caught LA Park Jr. with the German suplex. It was really well done. And yes, such a neat tip of the cap to ECW fans with Rivera as he delivered a Van Daminator. It was well executed. I liked it a lot. That was near the finish end of the match. But in the middle of the match, what has happened, we didn't happen to see LA Park Jr. for a little bit. Where did he go? Well, he went under the ring. Who comes out but LA Park? Yes, he comes in and spears Slice Boogie. One of the best spears in the business is what LA Park does. It's seriously really good. He's one of the best at doing it. I love Goldberg's spear from all time, but like LA Park, man, does he have a spear? I think, oh man, definitely. Okay, people are gonna hate me for this, but I'm gonna say above Roman Reigns. I love his spear. I love LA Park spear. It just looks devastating. Anywho, that game plan doesn't work because Homicide runs down to the ringside, pulls LA Park back out from under the ring, and they brawl to the back. Him, LA Park, and Julius Smokes all brawl to the back. So it's down to all the actual 4 competitors. Finish comes when El Hijo de la Park sets up a board in the ring that has 5150's numbers on it. He puts Rivera on the board, but in comes charging Slice Boogie, who spears, who also has a great spear, El Hijo de la Park through the table. All right. Then they get LA Park Jr. up and they hit their 476 finisher, I think it's called. I don't remember the numbers, but I'm going to say the 476 head crack. And they nail it. It's like a Death Valley driver with like a double stomp almost or something like that. Really cool finisher. But they nail it. 1, 2, 3. New champs. And Rivera's amped up. Slice Boogie's amped up. Conan's back in the gold mix because he puts one of the belts over his shoulder and stuff like that. I know Rivera was really happy about it. He attributed the whole night to his grandmother, and which is always cool to see and stuff like that. So he even got to the camera and was like, we're going to make these the tag titles that everybody's going to be going for. And then we cut to the parking lot of the 2300 Arena. And it's Alex Kane pulling up with Mr. Thomas. And as the press rushes there to go interview Alex Kane, Mr. Thomas is in the passenger seat. He opens the door. And here comes Calvin Tankman, who slugs Mr. Thomas. Mr. Thomas sells so well. He goes back. He looks knocked out cold. And that door closes and Kane drives off as Tankman's chasing the car. And that's how the show ends. Really, really fun episode of MLW Fusion. I recommend, if you haven't watched it yet, to watch it. But yeah, there's a lot to look forward to. Obviously, they're going back to Texas. They made a few announcements. Sato Brothers will be going to Texas. I've never heard of them, but they're from All Japan, and they look cool. They look badass. Like from Nebraska. Well, so they're originally born in Japan, but they moved to Nebraska when they were kids, and then they started training and working in All Japan. So pretty neat stuff. They'll be there. Roxy will be in it, Major League Wrestling, which is awesome, though. ROH Women's World Champion. It'll be neat to see if she becomes the last ROH champion, at least at the end of Final Battle this weekend. We'll see how that goes. But yes, what a great episode, MLW Fusion. I'm so excited to see the Von Erichs back in the mix. I'm interested to see what they do with EJ Naduka coming up. There's a lot of great stars and factions and stuff like that you can really get behind in Major League Wrestling. And so, yeah, it's always a fun show to cover. I have a blast. Like, I get so motivated too. Like when I'm writing the recaps for Major League Wrestling, I'm just like, oh man, I'm loving writing all this stuff out kind of thing. So yeah. But yeah, that should do it for this episode. You can give me a follow at Dominic DeAngelo. You can give WrestleZone a follow at WrestleZone.com. You can go to WrestleZone.com for all your wrestling news needs. But hey, check out some of my new shows. I just interviewed several people. I interviewed Emily May Heller of Mission Pro Wrestling, and she goes into detail about, the mentality of Mission Pro, and their community aspect that they give. It's really, really cool. It's a really unique interview. She talks about the influence of Thunder Rosa that she has on the promotion. And then Emily gives a very passionate statement of what her favorite aspect of working for the company is. I thought it was going to be something, part of her job, like, hey, maybe a backstage interview or something like that. But she gives a really, really good answer. Yeah, a better one. I couldn't ask for a better one, honestly. So it's really, really cool. So definitely check that one out. And geez, why can I not think oh my God. Okay, yes, I interviewed Baron Black and Jonathan Gresham to talk their new promotion in Atlanta, Terminus. Really cool, fun interview. We had to cut some of the stuff, but that moment, the stuff like that we did cut was very funny. But it was they gave an announcement. They announced on that interview that Joe Keys will be a part of Terminus. And so, yes, really fun. You can get some good insight onto how they're going to, some insight of how they're going to operate like Terminus, but specifically what modern age grappling is, where they got the name, origin of the name is not what you really think it is, but it does in a roundabout way all tie together. So if you watch Walking Dead, you might know what I'm talking about. So give that interview a watch. Be on the lookout for some other interviews coming up, not by me, but by the WrestleZone team. Colin Tessier has been knocking out the ROH interviews this week. He's been doing a heck of a job with it. So be on the lookout for those. Look out for my new show. Obviously, there's 2 Dynamite Dudes too, where I recap AEW Dynamite and Rampage. I did it solo this week. Marcus was on assignment, my degenerate brother Marcus. And I did a truncated episode because, again, I was sick. But I'm on the up and up and feeling better. And I'm heading to Vegas. Woo, baby. Heading to Vegas. So, yes, it's been a lot of fun this past couple of weeks, so wrestling-wise. Yes, but you got to check out my new show, The Hot Tag. If you love Around the Horn like I do, that's what this show is. I play the Tony Reality role, and I get 4 wrestling personalities to go around and, share the topics of discussion. And we got some very interesting ones coming up. If you're intrigued by this pro wrestling journalism and where all that lays, we talk about that. We evaluate NXT 2.0. We discuss AEW's potential for more popularity and the chances of maybe another pro wrestling boom coming, which we haven't gotten yet. Even though wrestling's in a positive direction, there has not been a pro wrestling boom again yet. But maybe we'll get one, huh? You don't know. You just don't know. And then we talk about 2021 champions, who's been who's been the best champion. Then we talk about the male and female wrestler of the year, which gets a little heated here. It's pretty cool to see. That's what I was wanting out of that show. So yes, check out The Hot Tag. You can check that out on our podcast feed and on our YouTube. So subscribe to our YouTube page, set your reminder, like the videos, do all that BS that people always say you got to do. Write us a review, all that malarkey. So, all right, guys, this is Dominic, DeAngelo, WrestleZone.com, and I'll check you later, all right, on the MLW Fusion Fight Report.